a pleasure to present to you Yanick Séïde. Yanick Séïde is the founder and the CEO of Chrysalis Women Empowerment, a certified master coach, facilitator, mentor, international speaker, and member of the International Society of Female Professionals. Yanick Séïde provides life and career coaching, guiding professional women to get clarity, discover their innate talents and strengths to have the purposeful life and career they aspire to. Yanick Séïde is talking on the experience of re-entry women in graduate school. Welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Well, I'm quite honored to be speaking after all these distinguished speakers, and I will piggyback on a lot of things that were mentioned before. So the experience of re-entry women in graduate school, you're probably wondering, what does that mean? And the reason I decided to research is because of my life experience. My background is in adult education. I was in the Navy for a while, and I worked over almost 2 decades in HR. And I started to notice that women, the disparity of women re-entering studies versus the younger employees and the older, the midlife women, including myself, because around the time of our research, I was re-entering at the graduate level. So the definition of re-entry women, and that's a term I didn't know was actually coined until I did my research. So the term re-entry women refers to women who are returning to studies after an extended period of absence, usually 5 years. And the returners is another term that's used to describe them. I find it difficult to pronounce for me, so I say re-entry. And for the purpose of this research, I decided to focus on women that are 40 years old and older, and are entering, not just re-entering school, but at the graduate level. I drilled down to that level. What I found out during my research, it was a literary research, very little was found. So that piqued my interest, and it's this field of interest that I have that I want to delve into in the future, and I'll tell you where I want to go at the end. So the number, it's astonishing, the number of women returning in studies at graduate level has been increasing continuously since 1984. Did you know that? No. So, as of 2009, the National Center of Education Statistics, because there's not a lot of research, so it was in the late 2015 that I did my research. That was the closest data that I could get, and very vague. It has not been drilled in demographics, which I want to explore later on when I pursue more research. But since 1984, it surpassed the number of male entering graduate studies. And I did some research again, quickly before the conference. And as of 2020, the National Center of Education Statistics said that the numbers increased even more. It's continuous. And 67% of graduate students enrolled are women. It has not broken down in the demographics. I'd like to find out, but just to know that 67% of new enrolled graduate students are women. Going back. And also, knowing we've talked about the different roles, the multiple roles of women, the challenge that they face. And that's one thing that piqued my interest in that research because of what I've observed in the workplace when it came to pursue graduate studies. For example, I worked in HR, and depending, if it was a younger woman or a male, they could submit this as part of their learning plan. It didn't seem to, not so complicated until you reach mid-career. And then they wanted to match the business plan. So personal development and growth was really focused on company, not seeing the whole person. So that bothered me as a person to see this, because we know as we grow, as we get more skills, we expand and we have more to offer. So there was a very obtuse vision of training. For mid-career women. Okay. So now, the reasons why re-entry women pursue graduate studies, primarily vocationally oriented, we know that. To advance their career goals, like everybody else. To pursue a career change and seeking new opportunities, another skill set, another feather in your hat. To be more marketable. And I want to qualify this. What I observed, let's say we were to hire someone, the graduate studies was always an asset. But more so for the women. We were talking about inequalities. It's like we have to stack up our qualifications to be recognized. And I was surprised to find this, that it was the case even in education. Anyway, so to find more satisfying employment or gain security in their field, as Parna mentioned, because when it comes to downsizing, the more you have to offer, the better your chance to be retained, especially when you're mid-career. Women also express the need for intellectual stimulation and personal fulfillment and personal growth. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I used the Maslow theory of needs framework to do my research. So women in midlife who pursue studies also do it for these two reasons. Because they want to provide for themselves. And when I say that, is that sense of autonomy, authority, independence. You're established. Because we know they're already working, so it is what they pursue. This is what it makes them feel. This is what they are accomplishing. An altruistic reason. As we know, most of us know, women, we are hardwired to be nurturers for the most part. So to ensure the welfare of others, the women in this middle stage of development have an interest in graduate studies because they see how the education can contribute to the greater good of society, to leave a legacy for generations, to make the world a better place. Because as leaders, we are teaching the younger generation what can be accomplished. So that is the driving force, the reason why they go back. Motivation. So studies reveal that older women students have more motivation than younger female counterparts. Do you remember when you did your undergrad versus when you did the graduate school, when there was much more demands on you? How much better you were at being motivated, getting things done, finding time to do things, better time management, more focus. We're not just going through the motion. They are driven. There's a reason why. There's a purpose behind re-entering mid-career. As Thomas said, older women students perform better at a graduate level than when they were at the undergraduate level. And I remember, because I was a re-entry, and I went, my goodness, I'm good. It's just like, and also that's because they apply their life experience into their new careers as a student at graduate level. They become more disciplined and prepared than when they were younger. We know better. We have the life experience behind us. And that is a thing that I found was saddening me, is that it's not recognized what the mid-career, mid-life women have to offer. The attitude was more like, oh, well, why would I pay for training? She only has these years before. But what about mentoring the younger employees? If you would just look at the workplace. So that's something that there's still work to be done on that. Isopa Calbouret also noted that older students want to increase their qualification and broaden their knowledge as a means to gain and be recognized qualifications, so they have a positive effect on their future and their career. And when you say that you've done that, so it's a qualification, it's tangible. So when they see your resume, I'll say, oh, you got all this. It's like opening a door, and then it gives you a better chance to open more doors, you know. And also, some older students are concerned about redundancy at work and feel that having a graduate degree can play in their favor. It's so true. When I worked in HR, that was always the fear. You know, I have all this experience, but what else can I offer? You know, there's the limiting beliefs. Also, they know they have an expiry date because that's how the corporate culture is. So they say, okay, I gotta have something else to offer. It's not the main reason, but that is something on the back of their head, redundancy. And I've seen it, and I'll share this with you. Yeah. Challenges. Midlife graduate students face many challenges as they are in a phase in their lives where they have multiple roles. For example, habitually they have a career, even if it has not been long, but they reach a point. They've had a career, they're not right out of school. They have a family maybe, or they're raising a nephew or a niece. Their responsibility for spouse or significant other. And also aging parents for whom they have to help provide care or take them to appointments. So this is a juggling of many responsibilities. Even with family, for example, even if the children are not little, they have practices you have to drive them to, or social events, or you're the social director. You know, the special events do not end because you're at school. You know, the holidays are still there where the woman is responsible to make it happen, the meal, the feast. You know, there's all this. We want to keep the status quo. You know, we don't want to rock the apple cart. So the role conflicts is really the reality they face. Harmonious family relationship is very important, right? And life in studies is a constant balancing act. So to avoid conflicts within the family, they will opt to study part-time and prolong by the time it takes them to complete the program. That's often the case. They have all intentions to go back full-time, but you know, priorities change, and in a matter to keep things balanced, this is what they have to do. Also feeling guilty for not being there for their family. And that's also something that's really hardwired in most women, is that we want to please everybody. We take care of ourselves last. And this is what that feeling comes back nagging. We know we shouldn't, but it comes back. And feeling that it is not enough time to meet all the responsibilities we talked about. So it's always in the back running process in the background as they pull through, push through. And financial responsibilities. But we know how much it costs to go to graduate school, so they might have a mortgage, or they might have a kid in college. Also, actually, I know a woman who finished a master's degree at the same time as her son. You know? And if you have younger children, some women push having children because of their career, so they might have younger children even though they're mid-career. So you have the daycare, being there on a certain time, being there for the children. So all these are responsibilities that most male graduate students would not have. Big challenge is that they don't have access to faculty and peers and guidance counselor as much as a student who's rolling from the undergrad degree right away, because they've been away for a while, so that connection isn't there. Also, they lack information on the resources that are available to them or how to access it. So support is very important. We talked about support from their peers, family. That is very important in order to succeed in completing their programs and their success, and to have meaningful interaction with the content, the faculty, and classmates. We are a creature. We like to work in collaboration. We don't work in isolation, so that's important. And so to wrap it up, so I was talking about Maslow's theory of needs. I think everybody's familiar with that. And Maslow has been saying that once you reach a level, you've reached the goal for that level, you go to the next one, and so on. The 5 from the bottom to the top, which is the most complex needs. So we talked about women who were, their main reason was for vocational reason. And the second one was to have self-fulfillment. So those are the two motivators for the women re-entering at graduate level and mid-career. So that in their hierarchies, level 4, which is esteem, and level 5, self-actualization. So both needs are not done consequently, it's concurrently at the same time. This is what they want at the same time. And esteem needs relate to the sense of evaluation of oneself, self-respect, esteem, and so on, achievement. Self-actualization needs associated with the desire to reach one's full potential. And that's what we want, because once we reach our full potential, we talked about nurturing the legacy to make the world a better place. So the recommendations is that reentry women it would be great for the university to have an orientation to have as much access to faculty and guidance counselor and have an orientation. Also to have information on the resource. Sometimes we know they're a resource, but how do you access it? It's not always clear. That's what the research shows. And also a peer mentoring program. That's what I thought should be done. Where a student of a later part of the graduate program would mentor the new re-entry graduate student. And what I would like to see, because what I found, there was so little information, there was very vague stats, numbers. I wanted to drill the different age group, also the diversity, how, the different ethnicity group. There is nothing. It was very global. So that tells me there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and that's my purpose. Thank you for listening.
And next, I would like to recognize and call up the bright and brilliant Yanick Séïde. I'm saying it right? Eminent speaker.
Hi, today I am at the King's College, Cambridge, at the Global Research Conference 2023. I'm with Yanick Séïde from Canada, came for this Global Research Conference at the Cambridge. So let's find out what is her experience coming at the Global Research Conference.
It was an amazing experience learning from some distinguished speakers. I came to share my knowledge, but I came back with so much. It was energizing, revitalizing, empowering. Wonderful.
I'm great to hear that. So tell me, what are your takeaway messages from the conference today?
Definitely what comes to mind is let your voice be heard, follow your purpose, follow your heart, because you have a lot to offer.
What are your key messages for delivering this presentation today to the audience?
Well, that women, mature women, are re-entering studies and at the graduate level. Since 1984, the numbers have been climbing and surpassing the males entering graduate studies. So that is one thing. They are going through their studies, their program, despite all the challenges that they have to face as women. And definitely they have a motivation, and also their motivation and their resourcefulness to complete their degree. That graduate program is really a shout out to women that they can do anything.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you very much once again to coming and attending Global Research Conference 2023 and making a grand success. Thank you.